Hi, this is Steen at Lundtoft, back at it again. I'm now honing my liners and I'll call it part 3. This is the section where I start cleaning things and getting it ready to put back together. I might do some of the assembly in this part as well. Let's get at it. So I've done the first 3 liners here. And I don't think they look too bad. So hopefully I can reuse these liners. I'll show you how I'm doing it. Setup again is far from professional, but hopefully it'll do. Well, we'll get at the last one here. So I'm trying to match the movement up and down to the speed of the drill to get a nice crisscross pattern inside the liner. Let's see how that looks. I've made a point of marking up everything so I don't lose track of where things go. I have honed all the liners now. You can tell that there is some wear and tear. And I think this engine has been seized at one point in time. There's a lot of markings down there suggesting that it may have been stuck. I cleaned off the top of the liner just with emery cloth, cleaned off the edge with emery cloth as well, and up underneath here. And then this one I've already put the new O-rings on. And there you can see the repair I've done with plastic metal. This is actually one of the liners that had a hole in the liner. You can see it down at the bottom there. I think this is going to work. It just needs to keep water out. So yeah, we'll see how that makes, if it works or what. This is the lubrication I'm using for the O-rings. It's a silicone base O-ring lubrication. So hopefully that'll do wonders for us. It'll be interesting to get those liners set down without ruining the O-rings in the bottom. But we'll lube it up and hope for the best. Well, I'm sorry, I did it again. So I completely forgot to video the installation of the first liner here. I'll get it on the next one. But just to explain, I came down evenly on the 2, and then I was using this little calipers vernier, to measure the height to the liner on each side to make sure that it was coming down nice and straight. And when I'm looking down inside now, I do not see any O-ring pieces, so I think that's a good sign. Well, let's get an O-ring on the next liner here. This O-ring lube is the stickiest lube, holy cow. But hopefully it's good stuff. And I get the O-ring over the line, there we go, and get it down into the groove. There we are, that was the first one. And another one. Yep. Man, is it sticky. You can almost see it's like silicone based oil. It's good stuff. There we go. Okay. And then I want to give it a good lube up here on the edge, because it's got to go into the bottom of the of the bore, right? And there we go. The bore of the block, that is, right? So here we are. I got the liner set up and bring it down into the bore of the block, and here we are. I was saying I made these wooden blocks back in Denmark when I was, not because you couldn't make them here, but I was home on vacation visiting my mom and dad, and so I mentioned to my dad that I needed something, and so we made those on his little lathe, which was good fun. Now we'll bring this down. There we go. That went nice and easy there. Now I'll bring these down so I have a good feel, hand tight, whatever here. And then I will measure with my vernier to make sure that it's coming down evenly. So we'll set this here. There we are. We'll get a reading. 13.6 millimeters. And let's see what we got over here. Just shy 13. So it looks like it's a little bit ahead over here, so we'll help it over there a little bit. And see this. No, now we are at 12.7. And over here we are 12.7. So now we will help it down one half at the time, 1/2 turn, I should say. I'm giving this one a little bit extra because it feels much lighter than the other one. And then I will double check my distance again, because I am really worried about ripping those O-rings. So that's 11.2. And this one is 11.2. Okay, we're not doing too bad yet. It's still coming down fairly evenly. Getting a little braver here, hey? But I'm sure you're getting the idea here. I'll spare you watching all the way. But I continue like that all the way down till it is, I almost said flush, but it won't be flush. It has to be proud to the block here by a few thousands here. So I got all the liners in. I will start removing piston rings from the pistons and get the new piston rings installed in them. And I already took one of the pistons and it's sitting over on the table. Okay, so here's the piston I brought over on the table. I just opened up the box here with my rings, and here's a card from Gen Sales. That's where I bought the piston rings. They've been pretty good to deal with. It looks like we can send them a picture. We'll try that out. To take the piston rings off, you need well, I don't know if you need them, but it's much easier with the right pliers, and I got those over here in my toolbox. There we go. And all they do is they split the rings so that we can get them over the groove. Yeah. But I'll need both hands for this, so I will let you go. I got the rings off now. I put them in order of how they came off. And so downwards is facing the top of the piston. I'm doing that just so I can put them away and keep them. If anything ever to happen, I have a set of rings. Not that I would like to use used rings, but I hate throwing stuff out. These are the new. So it's a JG382. And it's diesel 178 standard size. So let's get them out and see what we got here. Oh, it even comes with instructions. Well, let's have a look at that. Don't blame us for never reading the instructions. Of course we do that. Remove the cylinder ridge before piston is taken out. Surface hone, scuffed, scratched, and rebore cylinder. Clean thoroughly with 10W engine oil. Remove carbon from ring grooves. Check the end clearance of one new compression ring in the lower unworn portion of each cylinder. See the measurement. Okay, that's DA. And that should be in figure 1. Yeah, but what is... So the minimum end clearance is 7th thou, and the top clearance you can have gives you all the information here. Sorry, I'm reading as I'm taping, so I'm not getting it. I'm not talking much as I'm reading it. And I'll let this here too. Okay. Excellent. Well, I guess we will get started. I already, after I got the rings out, I cleaned it in the grooves here. Make sure there's no loose stuff in there. So we should be ready to put them in. And they're already marked with top and second, third, fourth. That's pretty handy. Same amount as we took off. Yeah, I'm impressed with these parts. The old Massey Harris parts. That was pretty cool. I'm almost getting ahead of myself here. Anyways, I got the first piston in, and I got the second one up here. I oiled everything really nice. The first one here is number 1, and this is number 2. And that one is now ready to have the ring compression tool put on it. And the tool that I have is this little gadget. So you wrap it around the piston or the rings, and then you compress them with this tool. And as you do that, the piston will slide right down where it needs to go, right in the liner. So It's a little tricky to get it down there, but once it's down there, that seems to be good there. Then I will simply tighten this guy here by closing it up. There, there. And as we get it tightened up, the piston should slip down into the sleeve. Make sure it's still, yeah. It can be a little tricky with one hand here, but we'll give it another go. And if that fails, then you'll have to believe me when I tell you that it worked and I got it down there. Yeah, you're gonna have to. I can't seem to hold it down and tighten it up. Maybe I can leave you guys right there, and then there we go. There. And then it'll slide right down to the next set of rings. Now I just got to get it past. There we go. And every time it hits a ring, it kind of stalls the float of the cylinder. I think I will remove this and then let it slide down as far as it can. Just gotta get this guy to disengage here. We're getting down there, I guess. Okay. Then we'll compress the last set of rings here and watch the piston slide down into the liner. There we go. I sure don't have a lot of room here. There we go. Okay. Then we're helping it to overcome the friction to the ring compression tool. And I'm not hitting very hard here, I'm just tapping it gently to slide down through this tool that's compressing the rings so that they can slide right in, right? There we go. That was the last ring to slide past. Now you can see that my big fat finger's in the way. Anyways, piston is now on its way down. All the rings are compressed. I'll bring it down and make sure that the connecting rod bearing meets up with the crankshaft. And once I have that, I'll put the bottom half on. I got that over here. Get that looped up nicely. And once I got all 4 of them in, turn it over, make sure everything turns smoothly and free, and then torque them and turn it over a few times more. Okay, all the pistons are installed now, and the bottom part of the connecting rod bearing has been installed. These are torqued to between 80 and 95. And I wanted to mention the reason why there is a gap between 80 and 95 is because there is a lock, clevis pin to lock the nuts. They wouldn't be able to fall off or loosen themselves. And so to get that hole to line up with the castle nut, that is why there's that gap of 80 to 95. But yeah, they're all installed now. And it went pretty well. So I got the frame washed and it's now ready for the motor to be installed back in here. I got the plate here that goes over the front of the bell housing. I'll install it right after I get the oil pan up, and the oil pan is sitting right here, just getting prepped to be installed. And once I have the oil pan and the plate for the bell housing put on, I will set it down a little bit lower so that we can get to put the cylinder head on. I have a buddy coming over tomorrow to help me with the cylinder head. It'll be a bit easier with 2 people to navigate it down there. But I'll bring you guys along. This little tool is worth its weight in gold. When you do stuff like this, it is so much easier. And it is so important that we get this clean so that with the new gasket, we can get a good seal. I am also going to use RTV gasket maker, but still, the cleaner it is, the better the result we get. Just want to show a little trick here. I'm putting a rod in 2 places so that when I bring up my oil pan, it's guided in place, and all I got to worry about is pushing it straight up and then get a couple of the bolts started with I'll put this ultra black maximum oil resistant gasket maker on, just a thin bead around. I'll place the gasket on it and then I'll give it a thin bead on top of the gasket, and then I'll slide it up, get it torqued right away. Now the oil pan is on, and that back plate into the bell housing. So I'm pretty much ready to lift it over and set it back down into the frame here. And then I'll install the cylinder head afterwards. It's easier to get a hold of it the way I have it now. So I'll set it in as it is now and get it hooked up to the drive shaft and bolt it down. Make sure I get these pins lined up and get the nut put on. Try to do it without cracking the bell housing. A lot of them are cracked when people take them off. If you don't pay attention and take care of it, they gotta come up really evenly. Well, it's on its way in there. I just gotta be a little bit careful when I'm bringing it in. And I thought you should see halfway in what that looked like. She is now in the frame. It bolted down. I put the underlays, spacers underneath the front feet here. That's to make sure the alignment is proper. The pins here are making sure that that it's aligned as well. So there's the sideways here in the back, and then in the front, that's where you adjust the vertical. So the alignment should be good now, and it's now ready to start putting things back on the engine. Cylinder head to follow with all the small things.
It should be nice to get that out of the shop too. Oh yeah.
Well, that was a quick jump. I had some help today and things were going quick, and I didn't have a chance to do any video. That would have broken up the rhythm of putting things together. But what happened today was the cylinder head got put on. I put Permatex copper gasket on both sides of the gasket, and we torqued that to 140 foot-pounds. After that, we put the rocker heads on. We set the valves, 5 thou on the exhaust and 4 thou on the intake. And then we started dressing it up with the thermostat housing, the radiator, hydraulic tubing, starter, the generator, manifold, intake, and got the fuel lines bled, started up, and then it runs pretty good. After we had it running, we noticed oil was pooling underneath. Turns out that the oil line going up to the pressure gauge is leaking, so that'll have to get replaced. That's something that happened because it wasn't leaking before. It is showing 35 psi, so I'm pretty happy with the oil pressure. But yeah, now that it's running, there'll be a few small odds and ends that I wanna tackle. But yeah, she's back up and running. We'll see here in the next couple of days how if water and oil stay separated. That would be nice. I'll start it up here while I have you guys with me here. Runs nice.